Welcome to Life It with DVD. Welcome back. Thanks for being here. Today I wanted to talk a bit about cultivating respect. And this is an interesting kind of topic that it's kind of hard to put your finger on where this is at in society. Um, when I think about respect, I think a lot about accountability as well. And when I think of accountability, that is something that is just desperately missing from society and how people go about their lives. Um, and maybe think you are accountable, and that's great. Everybody has different standards for their accountability, right? Um, and I think that's probably one of the main things here that needs to be highlighted is that some people think that they are when I say accountable, I also mean they respect themselves, um, but when you look at it, everybody has different standards for how they respect themselves, where they respect themselves, in what areas of their lives they actually say what they do and, actually do it. Um, uh, and, sometimes it's not even about saying what you do, but just you want to make something happen, so you're either gonna do it or try to do it, or you're not. Are you gonna be consistent with these things that you want to do and what accomplish? If it's something that you really want, are you going to respect that vision that you have? Are you going to respect yourself to get it done? At least to put in the effort and then see how you feel about what you're doing. Is it still in alignment with what you actually want to do, or is it turning into something else? And then you respect yourself enough to actually stop doing it. But the important thing here is that we need to be in touch with how we're feeling about things, um, because ultimately how we feel about things determines a lot of different values and a lot of different emotions. So when I talk about cultivating respect, I'm talking about it needs to start internally. It needs to start with yourself of what do you want to get done, and are you doing it? Are you actually practicing what you preach? Are you following up on the things that the dreams, the visions that you want to create? Um, and sometimes there's all sorts of things that can come up, but uh, you need to be able to respect yourself, to be honest with yourself of whether this is a reasonable thing to do, um, or like, do you have time for this thing? What is the most important aspect, right? This is about being practical, not about just like dreaming and like, oh, like I want this, but I don't know how it's going to happen. Now, like, that's one thing. It's one thing to dream big, right? I think dreaming big is good. But at the same time, it needs to be balanced with practical steps on a daily basis that you can be accountable to yourself for. And that's a matter of respecting yourself and getting it done if this is something that you truly want. Um, so it starts internally. It starts internally with respecting yourself. But then this needs to also be an external thing as well. Do you respect yourself in the external world, right? And how do others actually treat you in the external world? If you find that people are not respecting what you're doing, uh, well, the simple thing is cut them out of your life, right? Now, that's easier said than done. Maybe these are people that you can't cut out of your life. But the important thing here is that you need to be able to either, if this person is disrespecting your vision or the things that you want to do, you need to talk to them and say, hey, this is something I want, right? This is something that I have to respect myself, that this is a vision that I want to create or try to cultivate. And if they're not supportive of that, and you know that they won't be supportive of that, then go about it anyway, right? Um, but tell them and go about it anyway, right? That this is what you're going to do, and do it. Uh, additionally, in going about this, right? If there's people that just you know don't support it, like they have a lot of negative energy, a lot of negative emotion towards what you're doing, and you don't have to tell them, just go do it. Don't tell them, right? If they're against what you're doing, cut them out of your life, right? Because ultimately, if it's something that you want to cultivate, and you respect yourself enough to do it, to follow through on it, those people have no business being in your sphere of influence. Um, and ultimately, usually they're holding you back for one reason or another. Maybe it's for their own insecurities or issues that they're dealing with. Oftentimes, it is. We're all sovereign individuals here, and we have a lot of freedom to do what we want. But I think it's important to work together with other people to tell them what you're doing, so to see if they're going to support you or not. But ultimately, it starts with yourself. It starts with your internal vision, whether you're respecting that internal vision, being accountable and consistent with it, and then actually going out, putting in the action, and doing it. And if you just find that there's tension there from other people or whatever, move away from them. Eventually, you will find a niche, an area that will respect what you're doing, will respect your talents and your skills and all of the things that you're interested in talking about and trying to give back to others. And I think I'm talking about this today just because, in my own life, there's been so many things that I feel incredibly knowledgeable of, that I'm seeing at like a much deeper level. Uh, and people will disagree with this or whatever, but um, you know I'm researching things at such a a deeper level that and it's across all these cross spectrum web of intelligence almost, I've talked about before a little bit, but you know it just always feels like there's so much potential, so much room to help people. And then when you actually attempt to help them, or you see a window of like, oh, this person could use some help, and then it completely backfires, right? They don't want your help. They actually reverse it on you, where you think they need help, and then all of a sudden they apparently don't need any help. They don't want you around, and they end up disrespecting you, because ultimately they're disrespecting themselves, and what they're putting out there in the first place. Um, so it's always interesting, of course, if you feel that sort of disrespect taking place, cut it out. But at the same time, right, if this is somebody that you can't cut out of your life, right, you need to tell them. You need to tell them what you experienced when something happened. And if they don't like it, well, so be it. But don't hold on to any sort of negative emotions that you feel around a disrespectful situation or whatever, and internalize that as if, oh, that's you, right? Don't let that happen to you, right? I've gone down that path. It's detrimental to your psyche. It's detrimental to your spirit. Don't hold on to that crap. It will bring you down, and we don't deserve that, right? We deserve better. So ultimately, this goes back to cultivating that internal respect, that accountability, that vision that we want to, and going out there, taking action, being consistent with it, and just keep going, right? There's many projects that I've started that I have had a vision on, and then at some point along the way, somebody starts to question something, or they just it's negative feedback, uh, and it makes me question myself. It makes me um, basically stop believing my vision because somebody else that I haven't known has basically either misinterpreted or just disrespected, or it's offended them in some way. And um, I've internalized it too much. So this is why I just harp on the aspect that we can't do that to ourselves. We have to respect ourselves. We have to respect internally what we want to do. Because ultimately, when I look at all these ventures, they're all kind of going the same direction. It's just been 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, and it's a process. It's a process of learning, developing your own emotional maturity and how to overcome these things and overcome just your own habits and behaviors, and focusing on the vision and not letting the past or the boundaries or the obstacles or the things that pop up define you in a way that you don't want to be, right? Don't let those things define you in a way where somebody else is telling you what you are, right? You get to choose, right? You get to choose the life that you want, to a degree, of course. There's always circumstances, but I think we owe it to ourselves, if we respect ourselves, to follow that vision, right? To follow the things that we want to do, and to respect that and to cultivate it. And I always say these things with a caveat. I always look at the things that I'm saying very paradoxically, because there are situations where it's hard to change. Maybe your personality isn't doesn't have that resilience. It's up and down, and it's very inconsistent. It's hard to maintain the consistency. But that's why I've gotten into Myers-Briggs and human design, to be able to understand myself as well as other people as well, and how they are, what their gifts are, and how to best navigate the world practically, so that they can achieve their best life. And that's what I like to do. That's what I'm into. And that's why I think it's just important to use all the tools, use all the knowledge that we have available to us to learn about ourselves, respect ourselves, and become the best version of ourselves in this existence, because we don't know what this is. We don't know when it ends. We don't know what we're doing here, but we're here nonetheless. So I think we owe it to ourselves to try to achieve as much as we can, to try to do as much as we can, experience as much as we can, because why live for less? So let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you want any help trying to navigate any of your circumstances, developing respect for yourself, and maybe if you have any experience using these tools, to such as Myers-Briggs and human design, to cultivate these things for yourself. So like or subscribe if you enjoyed this. I'd appreciate that. And until next time, thanks for being here. See ya.